Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Phil Vischer.
And Tim Hodge here for another commentary. I first want to say, if you've ever read A Christmas Carol, you know the first sentence is, Jacob Marley was dead. And that's exactly when we started in the graveyard, even though this is
So you're
Easter
saying
Carol.
This is based on A Christmas Carol?
Loosely. It is inspired by...
I didn't know that.
Really?
Wow. Everything makes sense now.
Inspired by Dickens' A Christmas Carol, we have an Easter Carol.
Wow. So should we tell the story of how it all came about?
Sure.
Or should we save that for the book?
The book? We're writing a book?
Yeah, we are.
Okay, we'll save some of it for the book. But yeah, this is a sequel to The Star of Christmas.
But that's a prequel to this, because it was made second, but came out... It was written second, but came out... Is any of this making sense? Because we could always start over again if it's not.
Or you can rewind the DVD.
A long, long time ago, we made a Christmas special. It was called The Toy That Saved Christmas. That was back in 1996, and there were only 12 of us, and it almost killed us. But anyway, people really liked it, and I knew that someday we'd have to do an Easter special. But that was going to be tricky because we had the rule, of course, that we will never portray Jesus as a vegetable.
Right, and Easter, you cannot do the story of Easter without Jesus.
We couldn't just do, bunnies.
No,
we needed to tell the real story.
In that we are a mission-based company.
Right, so I was heavily perplexed. How are we going to do our Easter special? How? Oh, how? Oh, how?
The cornerstone of our faith story.
Right, got to do it. So then there was a guy named John Duckworth, and we were kicking around some story ideas, and he threw out about 8 different ideas. Each one was one paragraph. And one of them was an Easter Carol with Ebenezer Nezer, whose conception of Easter is as hollow as the plastic eggs he makes in his factory.
I love that line.
Yes.
You can tell.
And I read that, and I thought, and if you don't know, the reason that I named the production company Big Idea is that it's much easier to write a story if it starts out with one little big idea. Something where you say, yes, well, they start out, they're little,
exactly.
but they're big.
Something that excites you. That's
little,
the truth.
One
nugget.
paragraph, one sentence, but it's big.
Exactly.
Right. And when I read that, I thought, that's the big idea. That's the big idea behind our Easter special. It's brilliant. It just works.
And you can't pass up a name like Ebenezer Nezer.
No, you can't pass. That was too good to be true.
His treatment too wasn't Bob was actually playing the Bob Cratchit role too,
yes.
Wasn't it? So we switched a few things around, especially since we had to fit it in with a Christmas prequel.
Right, which we didn't know we had to at first, but then later on we had to. But there were a couple of issues the big issue starting out was, okay, well then how are we going to, actually tell the story of Easter within this context?
Right.
And also I was wondering, are people going to get mad if we take, because I had never really read A Christmas Carol completely. I just, seen all those TV commercials with Ebenezer Scrooge, selling McDonald's, Ebenezer Scrooge selling batteries.
Selling curtains.
Yeah, he does more TV commercials than Mike Ditka, it seems like. But anyway, that's all I knew about it, and I thought the story was kind of shallow, so I went back and read it.
It's pretty powerful, isn't it?
It's extraordinarily powerful.
I read it to my kids out loud one year, and I was in tears by the end.
Yeah, it'll get to you. Go read the story.
I like this entrance to the factory, by the way.
Yeah, this is a nice... Oh, and the chickens. So that was one of John Duckworth's original ideas that made it in. They also had the idea that was kicked around a long time of lawnmowers mowing plastic grass.
Yeah.
And that was just going to be too tricky.
It got horrendous.
Too tricky to render.
I still like the idea, though. We almost at least cut it down to a sign that said, keep off the plastic grass out there on the lawn.
Oh, really?
We never got around to doing that even.
Oh, I was going to say, I must have missed that.
No,
so did you.
I did, too. We kept forgetting to put it in.
Now, somebody said, hey, did you use the same factory as in Rack Shack and Benny?
Oh, heavens,
no. Said, no.
We built a whole new factory.
Much more elaborate than that.
Yes. With no plungers in that one. We got huge plungers in this one.
Yeah, and that was an issue. We had to figure out how the big egg could become pressurized.
Yes, to figure out, because we had to build a factory knowing that we're going to blow it all apart. So how's the best way to blow it apart?
Right, we have to pressurize something. And I remember one of the concept artists drew the big egg tank, and it was just had a hole on the top that the eggs poured in. And I said, well, how's that going to blow up? And he said it's a cartoon.
And he said it about that loud, folks.
Yeah, I did. He said it's a cartoon. I said, no, it's got to make sense. I don't go for that cartoon logic stuff.
No, no, never have. Just watch these tapes as evidence of that.
What?
Oh, I'm kidding.
Is that sarcastic?
No.
Okay, because I could make a video about that. Where's God when Tim's sarcastic?
He's all around us.
So, of course, it's connected to the Christmas show, as you know, Cavus and Millward.
Yes, if you remember, they burned down his theater in the last one.
And if you haven't seen the Christmas show, The Star of Christmas, stop this DVD right now.
Stop it now.
Go buy it and watch it, and then come back and watch this, because they go together. It's like a
ham and
match
eggs.
set. And if you want to know why we made them to go together, it's because if you're a Christian, Christmas and Easter are the two ends of the same story.
You can't have one without the other.
You can't have one without the other.
So we'll get into that later, too. That's a line of Grandma's.
When Grandma says that, posthumously.
Yes. Oh, yeah, we were talking before about Christmas Carol. And you thought it was a light
right,
and
right.
It is chock full of faith and values.
Right, because one of my first concerns was, wait a minute, that's all about ghosts, and stuff,
Yeah.
So that's not a Christian story, so can we do a Christian adaptation of a ghost story? And so I went back and read it, and I was amazed that there's very strong, Christian undertones in it. And at one point, and the coolest part is when they're talking about Tiny Tim, and the dad says that Tiny Tim likes to go to church because he thinks he reminds people of the one who could make the lame walk. It's like, okay, there's actual an overt reference to Jesus in Dickens' story. And I thought, okay, so then Dickens will not roll over in his grave,
right?
If we do an Easter adaptation of his story.
Now, he might roll over in his grave because we're doing a vegetable adaptation of his story, but that's another story.
Yeah,
story.
And, really, if he does roll in his grave, it doesn't affect me.
No.
Really? I wouldn't even know.
I don't think people really roll in their grave.
No?
No.
Okay. Well, then that solves that problem. Who did these little drawings? Did you do them?
Let's see. I think that first one of the chicken. The rest of them were done by Todd Carter and Tom Owens.
Very nice. But they all seem to match.
They are great at matching each other's styles.
Wow. That's hard.
Now, I actually did the little decorative border.
Yeah, you did that?
I did that with some of my wife's decorative scissors.
Really?
I actually cut out paper and scanned it in to get that perfect little shape.
Does your wife do Creative Memories?
Can we say that? That's a trademark name.
Does your wife do Creative Memories TM?
Yes.
Wow, that's great. So anyway, if you want to do some scrapbooking, there's
you can use any brand you like.
Any brand you like,
That's
but
not an official endorsement.
if you use Creative Memories, we'll get like $1.50.
Ooh, pizza money.
It's a pyramid scheme.
Let's do one set in Egypt about a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, now this is that was funny.
Thanks.
This is, I think, the
copyrighted idea now.
The longest VeggieTales song in history.
Yes, I believe it is.
Like a 12-minute song.
It wasn't meant to be that way because when I wrote the lyrics, I was thinking it more of a bunny song, that kind of tempo, more up-tempo.
Oh, really?
And you read the lyrics and wrote the tune to it.
Right.
And it got this
Well,
hymnal
you should have told me
quality.
that.
Well, I'm telling you now.
The show would be about 10 minutes shorter if you told me to sing fast. Man. Oh, well. It's long enough to be a TV hour.
Yeah. Oh, Michael Spooner did this painting of Grandma, too.
Oh, that's nice. Who did the rug?
I do not remember. I think we actually may have borrowed that from the Christmas show. I think it was in Cavus and Millward's office.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I know the fireplace was. And the clock was.
Yep. Now, for a while, we had thought about, like Dickens' story, doing 3 visitors.
Yes.
We thought about that for about 10 minutes. I think, and then said, "Wait
difficult.
a minute."
I know. I wanted the giant wind-up monkey, but I had that in an early treatment, but it didn't live very long.
A giant wind-up monkey.
Yeah, with the cymbals in his hands.
Oh yeah.
I wanted him to walk on all fours and leave these big cymbal footprints in the snow.
I'd like that. Is it too late to?
We'll set it in Egypt.
Do that? Okay. Okay.
Hey, did you see the chocolate bunny under the glass over there?
No, I didn't see that. Is it like the rose in Beauty and the Beast? And when it melts, he'll die?
No, he'll turn into a beautiful prince.
Oh, is that what?
If someone loves him.
Before it dies.
Yes.
So, right, melts. The bunny melts.
The before the bunny month.
Right. Okay.
Oh no.
And there's another little egg under glass.
Do you have any
in the
other
corner.
questions about the film that we can ask for you? Because otherwise, we're just going to talk about other things.
Who, me?
No, I was
the
talking to
listeners.
them at home.
Oh.
Because if they could send us an email real quick, we could probably answer the question.
Well, they could call me. I have my phone. I think I still left it on. I hope it doesn't ring while we're in here. See the chart going up?
That'd
The
be
little subtle
embarrassing.
things. Yes, the
Yeah.
chart's going up
The charts, but then there's another chart going down.
later on when we go
Oh.
to Easter past.
Economic continuity.
Yep. I think it might be too subtle to actually to get.
What's in that thing on the left with the glass?
It's little. It's either jelly
Gumballs?
beans or egg-shaped jelly beans.
Really?
Everything's egg themed because he likes Easter
Right,
eggs.
he likes eggs. Right. And here he's working on this.
On the miniature of London.
That one's supposed to be me, 'cause I'm not that fat.
Yeah, my wife doesn't like that joke.
Oh.
How about your wife?
I don't know
okay
that
with it?
she's seen this part of it.
She hasn't seen it? You didn't even show this?
I haven't
you didn't
shown
show
this
the
to
movie
my
to your wife?
No, oh, just so you know at home, folks, we're doing this before the film has actually been released
Right,
in the
because
bookstores.
that's the only way that this could be on there. You see,
Correct. Oh,
that's
you are such a logical man.
that's kind of how it.
You
it
don't go for
works.
that cartoon logic. See, I would have thought you could do it the other way because.
And then
I've
you
been watching.
then you'd try to like walk right out off the
'cause
top
I
of the
grew up
building
watching
and
Wile E.
think you won't
Coyote,
get
yeah.
hurt. That's crazy. Who did all the posters? Those are cool.
Oh, see, that was a combination of some designs by Todd Carter and Joe Spataford did the finals on
Well, we should release those. You could print them up, and I bet people would like to collect them.
I think
I
so.
think they're
I know I
collectible.
would.
You could put them on fridge magnets. See, look, reference to Rack Shack and Benny.
Yeah. See the artwork on those little figurine, the paper dolls down there? That was some of the visual development art that
Really?
Daniel Lopez did for Christmas, and we just used it.
Really? That's amazing.
How come it's always funny when somebody falls over
What about? Yeah, it's funny until it happens
to you?
one too many times. What's in the picture that was on the wall behind him?
Oh, that was
it concept art.
That was concept art from Christmas, actually. The drawing of the bridge that they jumped over,
Oh, that's
That's not
cool.
what she meant. You can't do that.
and then they're painting
They're
the
on the
factory
right.
behind
Yeah,
them
they're painting the factory. So we just use concept art for our decorating.
too. Yes, it's very economical and it's
highly,
pretty.
See, that's
Well, it's great because a lot of that
we're
artwork.
highly efficient.
Well, but a lot of that beautiful artwork never gets to be seen by the public, and it's a great way to display it.
Sneak it in there. Sneak it in there. All the characters could wear T-shirts with their own concept art on
like
them.
Like early character designs of
Yeah,
themselves.
right, of themselves, right. That'd be pretty cool. This song just keeps going
I
and
know.
going.
It's almost over.
It's
That
not.
shot,
There's lots more.
I wish I would have done a slight push in.
Oh, that would have been
I
nice.
would've-
Well, when you see that shot next time,
Just
everyone just
scoot up to
lean
the-
in.
Thank you.
Lean in slowly.
Do me a favor, thank you.
Yeah, Tim will be happy.
He's speeding everything up here.
Oh no, the
Chickens are going crazy.
That doesn't bode well. I
No,
think
it
that
comes,
could lead to
it comes
trouble.
back to bite him.
I think that could lead to trouble. Now, I do remember seeing a picture of that blank yard and asking that some shrubs be put in it.
I thought we did. We didn't, did we?
No, there's no shrubs in there.
Oh my goodness.
You point to the shrubs.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. You've got some splaining to do.
I think we didn't do that because we were having trouble with the ground plane kept disappearing. We were having trouble. The renderer was
Really?
messing up our ground plane.
The ground? Wow. That's dramatic. That's
It
very
is.
dramatic.
The song's over. Are you happy now?
Whew. Okay, it's
I love the
commercial
Sunset
break.
Sky.
Oh, you're back from the commercial. Did you get your? Did you go to the bathroom and get a sandwich?
Yeah, they saw a commercial with,
Tim and I
with
did.
Ebenezer Scrooge selling
Yeah,
nuggets.
McDonald's.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
The hard thing for the
And
animators
Dickens
to
is
do,
rolling over in his grave
Well,
from all those commercials.
just need to have hope.
one of the
Yeah.
hard things for the animators to do is to make a character with no feet walk with a crutch.
Oh yeah, I remember when I used to try that when I was.
But they pulled it
Yeah.
off. It looks very natural. I think Josh Gunther
impressive.
was the one who.
And this is very dramatic. The transition to night
Yeah.
and all this and the crickets.
Oh, he's sad. See,
Yeah, he's sad.
You're up
She's
awfully
sad.
late, lassie.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But is it
because
true
she's an
what they
orphan.
say
She has no place to
about
go.
the church?
I know.
Aye,
That's the thing
lass.
with orphans.
It's true.
And didn't you say in your research that the first
Yeah,
orphanages in
yeah,
London?
yeah. We'll get to that later.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We'll get to that later.
Let me see a
Unless you think we need to get to it now.
Well,
No, because that's way.
You want to save it? Okay.
Yeah, we'll save
Stay
that.
tuned, folks. More information
Oh,
about
you're
orphanages.
gonna find out stuff that you never even knew you wanted to find out.
Isn't this the coziest little
I
room of
love
all?
that. That is so much cozier than in Where's God When I'm Scared, the little room that I made.
Yeah, well, this took like 14 people to make.
Yeah.
Light and between textures and lighting and everything else.
Yeah.
crazy as it sounds.
Yeah, that room's a lot more expensive than my little room.
Hope that
I
no
think
matter
this
what
this
happens,
particular
God is
scene gets a
taking
lot
care of us.
sadder the second time you see it,
Faith is
because you
Really?
realize
sure
what's
of what
going on
we
in
and
Reverend
certain of
Gilbert's
what we do
head,
not see.
because he knows that
Oh, yeah.
his son's really, really sick and may not make it
Yeah.
the year out.
That's
But he's saying, whatever happens, we
That's
gotta have hope.
right. That's
We're
right.
gonna come back to this room later, but look way in the corner, that oval picture frame.
Yeah.
That's another bit of information I'm gonna
Wow.
spring on you.
Now,
Oh, St. Michael's Orphanage,
why is the orphanage St. Michael's if the church is St. Bart's?
because I wanted to put Mike Naraki's name in there somehow. It's a little homage.
Oh, it is?
Yes, it was
Okay.
cartoon logic. I'm sorry.
Sure is. Yeah, because we're real confused now. So on the picture book they wrote, they put St. Michael's.
Church?
For the church, yeah.
I told them. I think I did.
We're
I
looking
thought it was
into it to
pretty
see if we can change it. If it doesn't get changed, then go buy the book because it's collectible, because it's got a mistake
There
in
you
it.
go. See, there's
This
Nezrin
is
as
where,
well on
this
the
is where,
ship, and
yeah.
they're
Now this was tricky because, in the Christmas Carol, it's ghosts.
I like that picture there. They're behind the flats
Oh,
of
that's
at the
cute.
beach.
But we can't do ghosts. We don't do ghosts.
No,
No ghosts.
No ghosts
No
in the
magic.
VeggieTales.
No ghosts. No magic.
part of our company constitution.
No person-to-person violence. We got a very long list of vegetable regulations. So I had to figure out how to bring Grandma back and have it not be a ghost. And so the only way that seemed to do it was to actually hit it head on and have him say, "It's a ghost!" And then have her address that, because otherwise kids would assume it was a ghost. And we see? Did you see when he said that?
And what did she say?
Didn't I teach you there's no such thing as ghosts?
See? Reinforce the desired
And all we
lesson.
need to have Lunt come in and say, "We're going to get letters about these."
Yeah.
A vision. It's like a dream. What's the point?
Lunt's not in this show, is he?
Exactly what
Is
you
Lunt not in this?
He's not in anywhere.
Was it too late to add
Why
him?
didn't you listen?
Can we put him on the box?
Why don't you just do a commentary as Lunt, and that way it'll be.
Why aren't I in this show? This would be tons better if I was Scrooge.
Who knew that road was gonna burn?
Oh, can I give a little plug for
Yeah,
myself?
you can
I
do
did the
whatever you
voice
want.
of Grandma.
Oh, that's right. Tim did the voice of Grandma. I did the voice of Nezzer.
It's like we're doing a duet
Yeah.
for the first time in history.
Let's back it up and we'll perform it live for you. No, that's okay. I wrote that song. That's why it's so short. I can't write a song longer than 32 seconds.
Backwards and upside down.
And you're saying my song went on too long?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying mine's too short. I should have made more.
A lesson learned is soon returned.
Your,
No,
so-
that-
A lesson
your song is like American. What's that?
American Pie,
American
Don McLean.
Pie. Yeah, that
What?
9-minute song. Which, by the way, the DJs use it when they have to go to the bathroom. They'll put on that song. 'Cause it buys them lots of time.
Visit.
And they'll be watching this when they have to go to the bathroom. DJs will put on, your song. That
and see,
I
this
sung
is to
too
let you know
slow.
this was just a dream.
It was just a dream,
Because
see?
see, the table's back up, nothing spilled.
Yeah, it was just a dream.
Picture's just fine.
Picture's okay. Oh.
What's the noise?
Who's there?
I love that shot.
Isn't that great?
That's a cool shot.
Yeah, that's based almost exactly on Tom Owen's storyboard.
Really?
Yeah, great composition in there.
Wow.
Sorry. I think I stepped in a gopher hole.
That's nice. Our shots have gotten a lot fancier since I stopped drawing storyboards.
Phil likes to
You'll
draw
notice.
things right in the middle of the page.
Well, it's, it's easier.
This was fun. We wanted to use these costumes. Well, I shouldn't say wanted to. We thought about using these like slinky costumes in Christmas when they're robbing the church.
Yeah.
But it just seemed a little out of character, and we had so many costumes. We didn't need one more
Oh,
costume
right,
change.
right.
So it was nice to be able to bring in their undercover gear.
Yeah, very, I don't know what. Very,
Interesting.
longshoreman.
It gave me something to talk about.
It sure did.
Gotta save that church. Come on now, hoist
You
me
think
up.
we're promoting stealing here?
No, because maybe civil disobedience.
Oh,
But they pay
Right.
for it. They do. They're
right. They almost, didn't they learn their lesson in the Christmas story?
well. That's what they just talked
Well,
about.
Larry did. Larry learned the lesson. Bob didn't learn the lesson because
Right.
I love this shot. His little eyeballs going back and forth. That's
With
so
a little
cute.
cup of tea.
Is that motion blur on his eyeballs, or did
I'm
they
sure
actually
there
have to
is.
stretch them out?
Probably a little of both.
I'm just
That
gonna
was
stay
cool.
awake. I'm not tired at all. I'm just gonna
Oh,
stay
that's the chair from Lyle the Kindly
What's
Viking.
going on in the fire? It's glowing, but there's no flames.
It's just embers.
Oh, embers. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just embers, folks.
Yeah.
That's why.
We're almost in. Now, do you think anybody's going to get confused the first time they see this and think that they are going to be the visitor that she talked about? Because while
Oh,
she's
no,
saying
I
you're
don't
going to
think
get a
so.
visitor, and then we show them trying to break in. Okay, good.
Oh no, that never occurred to
I
me.
like this shot. You just see the bottom of
Bob
Bob
shadow.
there.
Yeah, Tom Owen's storyboards on that scene were hilarious.
Yeah.
I wish I could show them to you, but I don't have them.
Now here's the wonderful special moment.
Yep.
Reveal of one of our only characters with arms in VeggieTale Land.
Now, did we ever discuss whether she should be human or not, or were we just all okay with that from the very beginning? I don't remember.
I think we've always been okay with that, and that she's
Okay.
a wind-up music box, and the bass kind of goes up under her skirt when
Does it?
the pedals fall down there. Some people were a little confused about it when they first saw it. They didn't know what happened to the bass.
Oh,
Like, no, it's
right.
still attached.
Oh yeah, it's under there.
She doesn't have a body. She has a torso, but she's a music box.
Right.
She's made out of porcelain.
Right. And I think this is Rebecca St. James,
Yes.
the recording artist.
She was fun to work with.
Yeah, and that was actually, I wanted to use a song of hers on the very end of The Star of Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
because I remembered it was one of her Christmas songs, and it fit, but when I went back and listened to it and then played it for other people, it was too contemporary, and it didn't fit, so we actually did our own version of that hymn and had my wife Lisa sing it. But then I still wanted to
You got
use her
sold on Rebecca.
in the Easter Carol, because, you know, she's Australian, so she's already got the accent thing.
Yeah.
Because people faking the accents, you know, that never works.
No. Actually,
No.
she has to work back into it because she's lived in the States so long that it kind of has lost its edge.
Really?
And not for us. I think it still sounds Australian for Americans. But when she goes back to Australia to visit family, it's like, oh, you're
really?
talking like a Yank.
Yeah. Did we have to give her an accent supplement?
No, she had just come back from vacation. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, we spent 2 or 3 days recording this. And
That's kind of violent.
yeah, but it's not character-to-character violent.
Right,
So.
right. None of that.
Would you quit clowning around? We don't have all night.
That's cute.
It is.
That's so cute. So we're really, if you're not completely familiar with the Christmas Carol, we're following the story extremely closely, and it's pretty amazing how well it adapted
To Easter.
to Easter
And having only one
to
guide.
carrying this message and to having one guide. Yeah, that was okay.
Yeah, and it's gone back in time because they're in the daytime now.
It's Grandma.
Right, but it was just night outside, so they weren't back in time yet when they were outside.
What are you
Right.
doing
Okay.
here?
I
Well,
got
who
it.
knows? It's all kind of a dream/vision.
Right.
Yeah.
But now we've created
You feeling okay?
Mr. Nezer's grandmother and a young Mr. Nezer.
Yes.
We're really building the Nezer canon of characters. Quite impressive.
Well, that's Grandma, all right.
We could do a whole show just with the Nezer family now.
That's you. Now
like
hush
the
up and
Nezer
listen.
bunch.
That's my first
And see, we had to make sure this
Easter
didn't look like a
egg.
plastic egg from the factory. That's why it opens the other way and it's hinged.
Oh, right. Well, what's it made out of?
Porcelain.
Oh, it's a porcelain egg. Wow, those are expensive.
Mm-hmm. Well, his grandmother's rather wealthy.
Right. Right.
Yeah, there was an earlier idea too to have the Hope Easter basket, an Easter egg, in the basket.
Oh,
To
that was
show
an
that's where
interesting
he
idea.
to show that's where he got it. But then having Hope over there
Right.
and Hope over there. No.
So this was the other big question, though. Once we had settled on doing this, was how do we tell the Easter story within this vegetable Dickens England thing? And it was there was a brainstorming session, and it was Tim and Mike and me and Tom Bancroft and Steve Leeper.
and I think Mark Volcano.
Mark
may have been
Volcano
there too,
might
yeah.
have been there as well. And we were in my office, and all of a sudden, out from somewhere, I don't remember where the idea came from, the notion of doing it in stained glass windows.
Yeah, and one of us
in
is a
church.
genius who thought of
One
that,
of
but
us-
we don't remember who it was.
One of the aforementioned is a genius, a creative genius who should be amply compensated, but will not be because we don't remember who they are.
Now you mess things up.
But that was,
One
I
of
remember
those-
going home that day thinking, that is it.
It's brilliant.
That's how it all works. We do it with stained glass windows because otherwise you have to tell the story, and if you make Jesus, if he comes into the story as a human into
Then
the
you
veggie
kinda
world,
mix the world. Yeah, that
and
doesn't
is he a
work.
giant and this
Or
London
if
is
you-
miniature?
Or if you keep him as a human, and then you have, well, did Jesus die for vegetables?
Right. See, it's just a big mess. It's a theological disaster. But representing him in art in this weird world works,
Art is the answer to all
doesn't
things.
it? Do you think it works?
I think it works. Oh, did you notice the chart on the wall? The little
It's
line's
going down
This
now.
is last year.
Right, and the chickens were
And now
getting tired.
because they were real chickens out there before.
Yep. And see, what Nezer's struggling with here is he's not okay with death.
Yeah, that's why he couldn't even quite say.
He couldn't
Dad.
even say that his grandma died because he doesn't know what happens. And that's why when his grandmother says, trying to tell you that Easter means no death, or when he told him that before she died, he had no idea how to interpret that.
Right.
So he
thought-
concluded that as long as I keep making Easter eggs, it's like my grandma
Yeah, keep her
never
memory alive.
died. And so that's what sends him on this foolish pursuit of Easter mania to try to keep the memory of his grandma alive. See that? See how that all works there? And then there's a foil for him who cannot accept the notion that his grandmother has died to see Junior, Edmund, and his
Yeah.
parents. And his parents realize that he's going to die, but they're okay with that. And that's what completely brings him, to his knees and ready to actually
he had
listen.
knees.
If he, proverbially speaking, brings him to his knees because he can't.
See, Seymour's trying to tell it to him right here.
Oh, by the way, this was inspired by classic songs like this, like from The Music Man.
Yeah.
What do you talk? What do you talk? What do you talk? What do you talk? You can talk, talk, talk. You can bicker, bicker, bicker. That sort of thing.
Exactly.
Written by Mr. Hodge, sitting to my left.
Yes, and Kurt came in and gave it some wonderful.
As Kurt always does. That really goes without saying. If we write a song, Kurt makes it better. Just accept that. Apply it to all songs.
Chickens laying eggs all night long.
I like the little wind-up chick on the desktop.
Oh, I never saw that before. That's cute.
Did you even pay him?
I gave him an annual pass to Easterland, at 10% off at the gift shop.
Oh, well, that's generous.
So you have to notice the contrast between Nezer's attitude and his comfort level with the death of a loved one, and then Junior's parents' comfort level.
Oh my.
Because that drives.
Yeah, I hope they notice
whole
that without
thing.
us having to explain.
I
it.
hope you noticed that. Well, but you did notice that, right? Because you watched it once and now you're listening to this. But that's key. That's key.
Oh, you shouldn't.
I like this is one of those fun scenes
That's
where
a
what's
very
going
good
on
gag.
in the
Easter present. The here and now.
gets me every time.
That's good shtick.
Let's go for a
Tom
ride.
Falter animated that.
God bless him.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay, now this is a scene that is very similar to one in
Christmas Carol. Yeah.
Dickens' book,
What's this place?
where Scrooge actually sees Tiny Tim talking and starts to like him a great deal and then learns about his illness.
I wouldn't.
No, she sure loved that.
See that
old place.
that picture on the wall? The painting on
Yeah.
the wall over his shoulder? That is a painting of Charles Dickens.
Wow.
That's our little.
Did you paint it?
I painted that.
Really?
Yeah.
She commissioned it.
Wow.
And over the couch is a picture of Grandmom's cottage from 321 Penguins.
Wow, maybe that'll sell a few more videos.
Dear,
I think
this
so.
isn't your fault.
I think that people listening to this commentary
If
will
you-
go buy a second video.
If you click on that with your DVD remote control, it'll play a whole episode of 321 Penguins.
It will not.
But wouldn't it be neat if it did?
That sounds like cartoon logic to me.
Oh,
That will never work. We'll never develop that kind of
that's
technology.
cartoon marketing.
And find out what Easter is really all about.
What a ninny.
What
the
a
factory
ninny.
is what Easter's all about. The eggs, the baskets.
You don't get it, do you? They're talking about the hope of Easter. The hope of Easter changes
This is,
everything.
we're coming to the crisis
you take
point.
It away, you won't like what you get.
I'll get a lot more time for folks to buy eggs. That's what I'll get.
He stands
And I'll
firm
get
in
to
his
build
position.
Easterland and keep my grandma alive
She's
forever.
frustrated. Ooh, that was frustrated.
Mom,
But then this opportune moment happens.
Edmund,
Enter
you're
the
supposed to be
child.
asleep.
I know, but I couldn't sleep, and, well, I've been thinking.
Yes?
Mr. Nezzer isn't a bad man.
What a sweet little boy.
It's very similar to what
No,
Tiny Tim
he just
says.
doesn't have something that we all
That's
have.
right.
The thing that lets us celebrate Easter all year long.
But he's interrupted by that horrible raspy cough.
Ooh, what's going on?
Yep.
How sick is he?
Very sick, I'm afraid.
Is he gonna...
If nothing changes, this will be his last Easter.
And that's what the visitor, the
When
spirit,
are the
tells
doctors gonna tell his parents?
Yeah.
Scrooge,
In Christmas Carol.
and that's where he really starts to turn.
But they're so calm. How can
But
they
for a
be
different
so
reason
calm?
there. He
For
didn't,
different
yeah.
reasons, yeah.
I don't understand.
Scrooge didn't have a problem with death so much.
No,
as-
but he never cared about anyone.
Right. And then all of a sudden he does.
Where am I?
In a big echo chamber. This was the fun part too.
Story that started on Christmas when a baby
So
was
typically we
born
would have pick an actor to do a voice and then hope they could sing. In this case, we picked a singer and then hoped she could act.
And she did a fine job,
So we
don't
weren't
you think?
nervous about this part, but we were nervous about the rest, and she did a fine job.
See? And then this little cool stuff happens. We have the animation going on in the stained glass itself. Little surprise for the audience.
Yep.
Like, hey, that moved. And these windows were designed by Joseph Pulich and Michael Spooner.
Lovely, lovely.
And I think Rob DeLossie is the one who animated those.
Really? Okay. For those of you keeping score at home,
So kind of hard trying to find moments that we could tell a story with very little movement and tell exactly what was going to happen. But
right.
hopefully these are
Right.
strong enough icons that people remember the biblical tale that goes along with each one.
Yep.
Starting to sink in his little brain, huh?
Something's going on behind those eyeballs.
What does it change? Well, he spoke like a prophet, like no one they'd heard. A simple young carpenter, crowns hung on every word. He hated injustice. He taught
I actually put that line in there very intentionally,
About injustice.
the word hated, because today hate is a completely unacceptable emotion, and yet you realize that God
You can hate
hates
bad
evil.
things.
Jesus hated injustice. That it's actually an emotion. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it depends on the subject. Depends on what you are hating or what you are loving. You can say love is always good, but if you love injustice,
There you go.
it's bad. You can say hating is always good, but Jesus hated injustice, and that was good. So that was kind of that's one of my little soapboxes that I stuck into the song to make a point.
Thanks.
Where's the
You're
hope in
welcome.
that?
If that was the end of the story.
See,
then
and a
maybe-
lot of Easter stories that are trying to appeal to a very broad audience kind of end there, because it's hard. Once you go to this last window,
It kind of separates
it's not just another
Easter stories from resurrection stories.
Right, right. It's now something completely different, and this is really what VeggieTales is all about. Was getting to tell this story someday.
I wish we'd had a little more room in the glass too, so you could see him ascending a little more clearly.
That's
but then he would have
pretty.
had to been smaller, and I
Right.
think we balanced it okay.
That's pretty.
And the clouds are parting. And
And this is my favorite shot.
this one or the next one?
Next one,
Yeah,
this
mine too.
one. That's my favorite shot. That makes me misty.
everlasting. If you believe in who he is and what he did for you. If you believe. Of course, we all have to live with our decisions.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Wait a minute. I thought it was over.
No.
Thought that was a happy
She
ending.
quotes his line back to
I'm
him.
afraid it's time to
Yep.
see what this town would be like without
Time to
them.
show George Bailey what it would be like if he wasn't.
Future.
That's right. Oh, that's painful.
So in
That was hard to get an animator to do that.
I
to
bet.
Smash the glass. You had to smash the glass.
So in Christmas Carol, they show Scrooge how his life will end if he does not change his
Right.
ways. Here, in It's a Wonderful Life, they show George Bailey what his small world would be like if he did not exist.
Right.
And here, slightly different, but we're showing him what his world would be like if his wish was true.
Yeah, if-
That the church and the message of the church had never been there.
Do you want to say something about the orphanages here?
Oh yeah.
We promised you folks. Here it is.
All of these things are things that have, that there's factual data behind them. For example, the orphanage movement in England was started by Christians. There's one very strong Christian man who, at that point, there were street urchins. London was filled with street urchins, and orphanages were founded by one man responding to his Christian faith, and that changed, history in London for kids. And we think of orphanages now as bad things, but considering the alternative of living on the street as a street urchin, they were really good things. And then,
Maybe
of
he
course,
should do something for all the sea urchins too, because the sea is just full of them.
and then the next one with the policeman, of course, if you look into the history of, particularly in the West, of firefighters and
He's
policemen,
winding down.
you know, when you will sacrifice your life for someone else, it's a distinctly Christian concept. And then finally,
Greater love hath no man than this.
that's right, and that's particularly after 9/11. We saw many, programs and things that were honoring the firemen that died in 9/11, and they almost always referred to that concept of Christian love and Christian sacrifice. And then finally, the last one with Edmund dying. The reason he died was because no one would give him his medicine. No one would pay for the medicine. They didn't have the money.
His parents didn't. His dad
Because
wasn't a reverend because
if
there wasn't anything.
This life is all there is. Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we will die.
That's in the Bible.
Yes, it is.
In Ecclesiastes,
That's biblical.
one of my favorite books ever.
So we had to do it very quickly, but we were trying to show 3 examples of ways that the hope of Easter has affected the world.
He had to take hope with him because we couldn't leave that little music box in the exploding
Oh,
factory.
yeah. But then it was clever to give it to Junior at the end. That was a
I
nice
thought
touch.
because he's giving hope.
That was a nice touch. Yeah, I'm giving hope. Oh, boy.
That's a silly little grin. there.
There must be some way to get in there.
Good morning, boys. A happy Easter. Nice balloons.
Balloons?
Here's our break,
You watch some
Millward.
smoke come up over the
I'll
wall
get the
here too in a
plans.
second.
You keep
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
Now everything starts kicking in the high gear. Oh
Yeah.
no!
Uh-oh, that's trouble. That's trouble.
Now we'll
Commercial
word from our
break.
sponsor. There we
Okay.
are. We're back.
Back from the commercial.
The last Easter
Do
Sunday
those
we
numbers mean
celebrated
anything?
as church.
No, they're just we had to mix them up from the Christmas show,
Oh, okay.
so it didn't look like it was the exact same day.
Moyer is talking to the workmen right now
Yeah,
to see
that's-
if they'll
that's
give
a
us
good
just
idea.
a few minutes.
Oh, now why are the French peas always the bad guys? Did we have something against the French?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to
God
know.
loves the French just as much as He loves us.
That's right.
Gentlemen,
Yes.
please.
It just they're not necessarily bad in this. They're just doing their job.
Right. Sure. Right.
Don't touch this church.
Mr. Nezer,
Ding ding.
what did you say?
I said, don't touch this church. I know I told you to tear it down.
Time to
That we'd
drop
all be
your
better off
sledgehammers.
without it. But I was wrong. I know that now.
Oh, there's the banker from The Star of Christmas.
Yeah, yeah, the
Little
banker.
cameo
But it's more
appearance
than
here.
that.
He still doesn't get to speak. He's mute,
Well,
right?
originally, I had him in the opening song, "I Celebrate with Tea and Cakes" is the British way for me.
Oh, really?
And I realized, I shouldn't make him speak.
He's mute.
So that's when
Yeah.
we recast the role. Had you come? Ron Smith came in and sang the line originally too.
Really?
So poor Ron Smith didn't get a voice in this after all.
Oh, that's
He
too
does
bad.
plenty of Penguins voices, so it's not like he's
Yeah.
too hard up
He's
for
well
work.
represented.
Church is staying right here so that everybody can hear about the hope of Easter.
See,
Just like
My
my
grandma
grandma
would
would
want.
want.
just metaphorically giving hope to the young
Yeah.
family in Christ.
Wow. That's heavy.
The factory! The chickens! It's all gonna blow!
What?
We tried to turn off the chickens, but they're too hot. I got out okay, but Candace
Uh-oh.
is inside. He's
We
trapped.
needed a big action scene, of course, because
Of course. And what's an Easter story without
Without
an
a-
exploding factory?
without an exploding factory.
Like, how can we make this better than Dickens? We'll put an explosion in.
Yeah, the ending is a little for a modern audience, that's used to seeing car chases and aliens,
Flames.
wars
Poor
and
Bob
stuff.
can't get out.
This is trouble. I remember I was working on this story idea on a plane. I think I was flying back to Chicago from L.A. or somewhere, and the core idea for this
See, and Bob doesn't know
Factory
that
escape.
Nezers has changed his heart.
right.
What's he gonna do? His mortal enemy is here. He's gonna stand up to him.
Look here, Mr. Nezer.
Ooh,
All these
like a
plans-
sword. He's using his plans like a sword.
These plans. You can't build Easterland and you can't tear down that church.
But see, Nezer was changed so completely that now he's actually willing to risk his life to help
That's right.
Bob. And he didn't like anybody. He didn't care about anybody before.
I came to get you.
You did?
Yeah, good thing they had the fire exit.
I did. Come on.
Way up high. I love the way they put
Yeah.
the fire exit way
yeah,
up.
well, they didn't have
OSHA wasn't around back then.
didn't have building codes back then.
That needle hits the red, we're done for.
Ah, there's the ticking clock. Time's running
Oh
out.
boy, gotta save the world, James Bond.
Oh no!
Oh, that was a nice piece of work.
Thank you. Not that I did it, but I directed it. I told somebody else to do it.
We can't fly.
Maybe we can.
A bright idea.
It's crazy,
He's
but
putting-
it just might work.
Putting things together, yes. I'll push
All I
this
need to
button.
do is push the top button, and it's all reprogrammed.
Okay, get that.
Now this was something that was added. The animator put that in there.
Really?
Bob was just supposed to hop in.
And they did that?
Yeah, Dan
Wow.
Razak did that.
Wow.
Whoa!
They're ad-libbing.
Now when we build a theme park, can we have this as a ride?
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah, that'll be big. What'll we call it?
You'll see. Just hang on to this and don't push the yellow buttons until I say so.
The Egg-splosion. Can you think of any other puns?
That's
It's
good.
almost on the red.
That's good.
Exits are blocked. How are they gonna get out?
Don't worry. Our police officer is one of the bravest on the force.
Here
Yeah,
he goes.
one of the bravest, but not one of the brightest.
Officer down.
Yeah, that's good for a laugh.
I laughed.
We aren't going fast enough.
Whoa!
Almost there.
Lots of eggs in there, just getting
Oh,
shoved
man.
in one after
And the
the
rivets
other.
start blowing. You know you're close to the climax when the rivets start blowing.
Yes, sirree, Bob. I like the heads popping.
Oh, yeah. And this is like, boy,
And about the time you think it's over, bam! One more.
holy mackerel. Bruce Willis, Die Hard, you got nothing on this.
Mm-mm. And no actual vegetables were hurt in the making of this film.
Bob as action hero.
Oh, it's all over.
Oh, good. We made it.
Or is it?
Ah! That's a reversal. That's
is.
called a reversal. And of course, somebody pointed out, why are the shopkeepers opening their shops on Easter Sunday? They wouldn't be doing that.
I think it's just because we needed the trampoline effect.
We needed trampolines. Give me a break, okay?
They're not actually opening for business. It's just for looks.
Just to keep the sun from spoiling their paint jobs.
Yeah, animator added that too. We had to go back in and dub in the kiss sound.
Oh, this is just magical.
Without the magic. Remember, it was on your
it's
list
not-
of things we couldn't have
Right,
as
it's
magic.
not magical. This is not magical. It's really neat.
And Larry and
Mr. Nazar.
Mr. Nazar,
So,
what are you
what
gonna
gonna
do?
What am I gonna
timing
do?
these eggs has
I'm
got
going to
tricky.
Disney
I'm
World.
gonna do what matters the
Easterland.
most. Reverend, with whatever money I got
Look at
left,
Larry. He's
I'm gonna
freaking
help
out.
you
Yeah,
fix
he's-
up that orphanage.
He's enjoying that
And
quite a bit,
I'm
isn't he?
gonna make sure that boy
Where'd he go?
gets his medicine.
He's
gone.
behind the Reverend somewhere.
Grandmother
No,
would
he's
be
not. He's
proud.
gone. He fell out of the scene.
No, I don't have. That's not a continuity error. Shh.
How are you gonna afford that?
This
It's
is
a
funny. This
failure. He's gone.
wasn't in my original
What the
version of this.
What
I
the
think,
save?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think you added that,
I
didn't
set
you?
that up at the
Somebody
beginning.
added that.
Yeah.
Well,
saw the
why
safe
are
at the
we all
beginning.
standing
That was
around
good.
here? It's Easter Sunday.
And God bless us.
The only thing I forgot to add. Oh, isn't that
that's
great?
So cute.
I wanted to have one of the chicken heads land with all the eggs too.
Oh, that would have been disturbing.
No, it's mechanical. It's not a
Oh.
real chicken.
Yeah, but oh.
And look, conscientious Larry.
Yeah, he shuts. I just watched that show with somebody, and they asked me why Larry shut the safe.
Because all the good people are in church.
Right.
Who knows who's running around on the streets?
That's all those
Charlie
shopkeepers.
Pincher could be out there.
Heathen shopkeepers. And bring it all back where it started, and we see his new attitude
With
towards
the lily,
death.
which is the symbol of life everlasting.
Oh man, don't get no better than that. Good job, pal.
Thank you. Back at you. Now let's see everybody's name who worked on it. There's
Oh, that's Tim.
me. My mom and dad like that part.
Yeah.
Hey,
there
David.
were
Way to go,
lots of
David.
People that worked on this.
And he said that like years ago. Yeah, Keith Lango helped out on, I think, the 5th version of the script. We had 6 or
Yeah,
7 by the time it
We
was
made
done.
a lot of changes.
Yeah.
So now this was produced largely also during the production of Jonah
Yep, right at the tail end of it.
and Christmas.
Mhm.
Everything was happening at the same time. It was
And
insane.
actually, we were working on Little Joe during part of this
And
too.
Little Joe,
the
too.
production of this.
Holy mackerel, it's a wonder we survived. So a lot of people rolled out of Jonah and rolled into this, and some
Mhm.
people were just on this all the way through. But boy, there was a lot of frames getting rendered.
Yes,
those
actually, we had a little.
few
I
months.
think Jonah was finished rendering by the time we started rendering on this, though. So
Oh,
we had
really?
a little more
Okay, well that's good.
render time.
That's good.
Andy Arnett just had another baby, by the way.
oh,
Well, his wife did. Joji did.
Congratulations. Wow.
Any other tales we can tell about people in here?
I've got tales to tell.
Yeah, Mike Laubach did that one
The
shot I was talking.
explosion.
No, actually,
Who blew
Rob
up the
DeLassy did.
factory?
Rob DeLassy blew up the factory. It was the explosion
have to
that
pay for it.
knocked down the catwalk over to the fire escape that you commented.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah,
That was nice. Of course, Kurt did the music. What you're listening to right now, the ever brilliant Kurt Heineke. And Andrew Yassi completed the coordination.
Thank you, Andy. It would have been incomplete without you.
Completing the whatever. La 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 la. So what holiday are we going to do next?
Arbor Day.
Arbor Day?
I don't know.
Is that Christian?
I don't know. There's something about trees in the Bible, isn't there?
I think so. Yeah, the tree of good and evil. We could do something like that with Arbor Day.
There we go.
That might be fun.
Which vegetable would
Do
portray the
Thanksgiving.
forbidden fruit? We could do Thanksgiving.
The forbidden fruit is a fruit, I'm pretty sure.
Well, isn't a tomato?
Could be the peach.
There you go.
Yeah, but tomatoes don't grow on trees.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
I know because I have a tomato plant. I have an apple tree.
Really?
Yes. We're getting way off the subject here.
You're lucky. You're really lucky.
Yeah. Can we say luck?
You're
We don't have magic. We don't
You're
have
magically lucky. Okay, well, we're kind of all done here.
Yeah, winding down.
Do a Thanksgiving special next.
Yeah.
Halloween's tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
We
All
can do a
Saints
harvest.
Day.
We can do a harvest special.
Do a harvest special. We could do. Actually, we're working on a little St. Patrick's Day thing going on.
Oh, that's right, we are. Ha ha ha! You guys
Stay
can't
tuned,
see
folks.
that yet.
Stay tuned.
It'll be a big surprise. 2003. Ah, yes, I remember it well.
And the end.
What was that?
It's one of the chickens
Ah,
from the
chicken.
factory.
Okay.
See you
Goodbye.
later, folks.